Yes, indeed. You're absolutely right, Bonnie. It's Wednesday night here at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. It's our Wednesday night midweek oasis. We're being recorded. So my name is Paul, for those that don't know and may be joining us for the first time. And we welcome you to our midweek oasis service. It is Wednesday, July 13th, and we have a wonderful evening planned for you. So I say hello to our church family. We have people from far and near, some right in our own backyard, and some as far away as Mexico tonight. So Bonnie, thank you for joining us, and Peter in Portland. We love, or I do, the digital Wednesday nights because we get to entertain and visit with our friends in many, many places, in many, many parts of the world. So that's a true outreach going on here on Wednesday nights. So why do they call it the Oasis? You hear me tell you about this every Wednesday night, but we call it the Oasis because it's a place where we can be together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. Our intention is to have a satsang style Wednesday night service, our own version of it. And the outcome at the end of the day is that this gathering be informal, intimate, and rich. We have an annual theme that we work with all year long, and it's Wonder, Wonder Everywhere for this year. And our monthly theme for July is Living Everyday Wonder, focusing on relationships. So if you're joining us for the first time, we welcome you. You obviously found our homepage. Please explore it, the events page and the classes and all the events that are going on here at the center. In the lower left-hand corner, if you'd like to receive our Village News newsletter every week, telling you what's coming up in the upcoming week, just input your email address and submit it, and you'll get it every Thursday. If you haven't done it already, we're going to ask you to mute your camera and your microphone. If you can do that, that will improve the quality of our transmission. And we will be having special and important announcements, so please stay for them. Our goal is to finish by 8 o'clock tonight to give you back much of your evening. So when we go into the sharing period of our satsang style service, we ask that you be brief and to the point, but we do encourage you to participate. So who is speaking tonight? He did our meditation already. He spoke with his grandmother on Sunday at service, and it's doubleheader Luchan week because we get him tonight on Wednesday night. He's a practitioner and a ministerial student, and his name is Luchan Baker, and he'll be speaking and continuing the ideas that Reverend E and he contemplated for us on Sunday with a talk titled You and I Are We. So Luchan, I turn it over to you. I'm so grateful that you're here tonight. I'm thanking you in advance, and the floor is yours, sir. If you could open us in prayer, that would be great.
Certainly, Paul. Thank you. So right now in this moment, we remember the truth that there is only God, regardless of appearances, regardless of experiences. God is the only power. And so on this perfect God day, I'm giving thanks and allowing all the stuff from today to just fall where it is. And we remember our God truth, that we are God beings having a God experience. And so I bless this day, this service, knowing all is well. I release it, knowing the answer is always yes. And so it is. How's everyone doing? Thank you for another Wednesday service. Thank you, and shout out to everybody who checked out the service from Sunday. It's really fun. Grandmama had a lot of fun. It was really awesome. Matter of fact, the fact that it wasn't taped kind of makes it more special because it's just a moment we all shared, because it was definitely on point. I mean, even the music was just wow. Everybody was just in the in the vibe. I love that. I was still floating from that vibe on Monday. I mean, I'm still riding that vibe now, but Monday it was really going on, and I needed it because I was fighting a traffic ticket. I knew it was bogus, and I was a little uneasy because all traffic tickets for Alameda County are done virtually now, which means that, well, if I can just take the call from the comfort of my living room, then so can the police officer, who I'm hoping does not show up to the hearing so that it'll be thrown out. And, you know, I prayed heavy, and I was just like, listen, this ticket was bogus. I know I'm in the right, and the universe provides, and the officer did not show up. So I was in an even greater mood, and I celebrated by hanging with some homeboys who I know just from around San Francisco, just from different times of my life. And one of my homeboys sells incense and oils and just everything right there at his little spot on Market Street, his little table. And he's always playing just really awesome music. And I treated myself before I left to go pick up the kids from camp and everything. I hung with these dudes and just listened to music and talked. And we had debates about who's the best rapper from this era. And just, it was something I really, really needed, because I've been craving that camaraderie and that brotherhood, and just talk about that kind of stuff. I've been missing it. And when this thing called adulting, I get so used to just, oh, you got to be here for a meeting. You got to be here because this is where you make your money, and you got to be here for, and, you know, there's a reason why this theme is you and I are we. I said it on Sunday. I'll say it again. We are pack animals. We need each other. And I was really needing that kind of love right then. And just to tell you how awesome it was, oh my goodness, like this brother, the same brother who owns the table, shout out to Astro. As soon as Biggie Smalls' Everyday Struggle came on, tears started streaming down the brother's face. It was so beautiful. He just sat there. He didn't care who was looking at him or nothing. He just allowed the tears to go down his face. I love that. So what I'm realizing about this you and I are we is it goes deeper than just the title. The title says a lot. You know, of course, you plus me makes me we. And that's a real thing. But then, for instance, back in the 90s when Jerry Springer was popping, right? Jerry Springer made a lot of his fame right there in the late 90s. And my senior year was around the time where, you know, kids was cutting school to watch Jerry Springer, because, you know, it was the first time you could really watch that kind of violence on TV without having to pay for it on pay-per-view. So teenagers everywhere couldn't wait to just go home and watch Jerry Springer and watch the shenanigans. And I remember every now and then he would have hate groups on there, and it would always be the same thing I would always hear is, if God intended for us all to be together, he would have put us all in the same place. And I'd always be sitting there thinking like, you mean Earth? Like, I just, you know, and maybe it's my own upbringing from being raised in science of mind, but I just never ever understood that. You know, if I need an organ, I don't care what you look like. Just make sure the organ is healthy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what you look like, but it's a thing. And if you look up the history of racism, it was pretty much a class thing. You know, even the people who created it didn't believe it. They knew it wasn't real. It was a class thing. We don't want the poor blacks and the poor whites to get along, because they'll put things together and realize they're not the enemies. It's something else going on. So these are just all things that were hitting me after we had our talk, because grandmama really tore it up. She always tears it up. Reverend is just amazing. If I could be half the speaker that woman is, I'll be happy. And just thinking about we and the collective consciousness, And I'm realizing, like, let's just be honest, all of us have had moments in our lives where, because of an experience or maybe a series of experiences, we have had an idea about a certain group. We've all done it. That's part of the human experience. What I'm also realizing, though, is that when I do that, I literally cut my own power off. See, the power is in the we. That's where we get our power from. Our blessings come from each other. You know, we all know the story of like this man is drowning and, you know, he's sitting there and he prays real hard while he's drowning, you know, while he's just in the middle of the ocean and praying. And, you know, after he's done praying, somebody comes on a little boat, little canoe, and just, hey, come on, get in. I'll get us to safety. Oh, no, don't worry about it. God will come save me. He's like, what? Dude, you're in the middle of the ocean with nothing. It's like, I prayed to God, God will save me. Whatever, man, you know, he rolls off and then he keeps praying. Come on, God, I know you out there, God. I need you. So then the ship comes. It's like, hey, man, you know, we'll throw down a lifesaver. We'll pull you into the boat so you wouldn't. No, I don't need you to do that. God's going to come save me. What? Ship sails off. Finally, a helicopter. After he prays for the third time, a helicopter comes. He tells the helicopter the same thing. Don't worry about me. God is going to save me. So finally, the man drowns. When he drowns, you know, he's telling God, like, hey, what up, man? I was praying for you to come save me. And God's like, listen, I sent you a canoe. I sent you a ship. I even sent you a helicopter. What more do you need? And what that tells me is our blessings come from each other. To see you is to see God, and vice versa. This is the we. This is the power of the we. For us to literally see all as extensions of ourselves and as different expressions of God. That's the challenge. It's also the gift. When I could look at you, no matter how different our shade are, or you know, gender, whatever, just to see that and say, wow, look at how abundant God is. Do you ever run out of ideas, God? Look how beautiful this person is. Now, while we're talking about seeing each other as extensions of ourselves, it's always easy to do that when the person is acting in a way we think they're supposed to act. But what about those other moments, right? Well, I think we've all had moments in our lives where we felt rebellious, where we felt angry. Well, you know, I think we've all had those moments too. So now at 40, when I see a young person who's in a rush and they cut me off on the freeway, I don't get mad like I used to when I was in my 30s, because I understand I was that person. I was you. I get it. It makes sense to me now why elders don't get upset like that. They've seen everything. They've played every role at this point. All they can do is laugh and know God is all there is. Vibrations are a real thing. We know this. I know y'all know this for sure. Vibrations are a real thing, which is why I can never want anything for you that I don't want for myself. This is why we don't practice affirming things, terrible things to happen to people, because that's only asking for it to happen to me too. That person who I'm dealing with, who I do not like, who's always in the way, who's always trying to sabotage, I get to pray for that person. I get to want nothing but the greatest outcome for that person. First of all, that person is no different from me. They just represent me at a different stage and a different type of consciousness. If they were not a part of me, I would not be seeing them. Go ahead and scream, go ahead and holler. If that person was not a part of you, you wouldn't be seeing them. There's a reason you are seeing that person. You put them there. Reverend Muwata Rasuli said the best thing you can do to get rid of a hater is to ask for them to get exactly what they want. Tell God to give them what they want. If we really believe God is abundant, then tell God, give this hater what they want, God, so they can get out my way. We're not supposed to want the hater to not get what they want. The hater will never go anywhere. Haters, you know, that person at your job who's always in your way, or whoever in your life always seems to be trying to block you from something. Pray for them to get what they want. What's true for them is true for you. That's the challenge. That's the fun right there. The times where I finally surrendered and let go and said, you know what? Let me pray for this person. Literally, it was just like everything opened up after that. This is why grudges aren't, we're only holding ourselves back when we hold grudges. For me to hold a grudge means I have to stay at that moment where I felt I was wrong. And we know the world keeps turning. I want to keep turning with the world. So what I get to do is get over that. This is the we. I think of community when I hear the we. I was one of the kids from the 80s who actually got to grow up in that kind of neighborhood. I grew up in South Berkeley before we moved to East Oakland. And right there on Tyler Street, we grew up. My sister double dutched in the street, and I played football in the street. And whenever sometimes somebody would go home, somebody's mom would yell at their name, and we'd all laugh at them and, you know, wave by like, aha, you got to go inside. And, you know, it was community. Everybody knew each other's business. It, you know, it was no talking about each other's mama, because like, what? My mama just babysat you. What are you talking about? That was the we. I think about how in my neighborhood, I actually, for a brief second, very brief, got to know what it was like to go to the liquor store and see people who looked just like you who owned it. Very brief. And the reason I bring that up is because a lot of why that changed is because crack was then something that came to my community to literally pollute it. You can look on YouTube now. It's funny because so many truths always get obvious way later. All through high school, I'm telling everybody, the CIA put crack into the Black community on purpose. And you shouldn't be selling. Oh, shut up, Luchan. You don't know what you're talking about. And now you could just go to YouTube and it's like, okay, yeah, we can't lie. We did put that in y'all's community. But here's what was not anticipated came with that. This is why we know that you can't get away from God. See, the whole reason that was done was to decimate the Black community, to all our businesses and the violence and just all that. It just made the ghetto just, what the heck happened? What was not anticipated though was how much it would spill over into other communities too. I work as a case manager in San Francisco's Tenderloin District. Let me tell you that when it comes to addiction and the poverty that we are seeing on the streets regularly, it has no color. Everybody is getting their behinds kicked by this thing. Everybody. Of all shades, all backgrounds, I'm talking about rich kids are out there too. It does not matter. Why I'm saying that is come on now, vibrations are real. If you're in a pool and you splash, you're gonna get splashed too. And the vibration will come back to you too. All I'm saying is you can't soil the pool. We're all gonna have yellow on us. That's what happened with crack cocaine. That's what happened with AIDS. That's what happened with all these things. It's gonna get on all of us. You think you're only poisoning them. There is no them, there is only we. Forget that. There's not even only we. We know there's only God. That's all there is. It's really fun saying that too, because, you know, like that duality thing, I get to check myself when I see that. I get to remind like nobody wants to say the word devil in this philosophy, but we know that when someone says devil, all they're really talking about is that other consciousness. We just call it the ego. It's the same thing. We all have that in us. That's why it's so beautiful when elders just laugh at things and don't get into the beef. Street gangs originally were for the people. When you think about the Crips, remember the Crips started, that was an offshoot from the Black Panthers. The Crips originally, you know, when they were in LA, They were there to keep the community safe, to keep police brutality down, and to keep outsiders from coming in and causing terror in the different communities. That's what the Crips were there for. Just what happens is power corrupts, and over time, it becomes a fraternity. It's just what happens. It's human nature. Then instead of the people you were supposed to protect, you end up terrorizing them too. Love is our default mode. Let's not forget that. Hate is taught. Love it's our default mode. Look at a newborn. A newborn doesn't say, oh, I'm not hugging you because you, no. A baby will reach for a baby's here to love. And right now, more than ever, let's remember that we need we. There is nothing that can be done to one group of people anywhere and it not affect us. This is why I speak up when I see anybody. It doesn't matter, woman, the differently able, whatever. I speak up when I feel someone's being treated unfairly. It's not because I'm looking for a cookie or got a cape on my back, it's because I want somebody to do the same for me. If you have the power to help me in that situation, please help me. Care what you look like. The ideal party for me is all my weird friends. And if you're my friend, you have to be weird because, I mean, come on now. Everybody partying together. All different walks of life. Nobody on the planet who can't be my friend. I got one of you in my crew. Trust me. So we can do this we thing all day. I really want us to talk about what's on the heart when we talk about you and I are we. I think that right now, more than ever, we really need to just remember to put love at the front of our vibe. I'm not even going to say personality or mind or any of that, just the vibe. If we just all lead with love just in front of us, I think we can have a lot warmer experience. So I'll be quiet because we know I can run my mouth all day. Anybody who has anything on their heart about you and I are we, please, like to hear what you had to say.
So if you want to share with Luchan anything you said so far and go into our sharing mode, we ask that you turn on your camera and then raise your hand like this, or use your reaction button and raise your hand like that. And Peter is going to be our facilitator, so we know who's up and who's next. So if you'd like to share something, now's the time.
Perfect. Dodie, go ahead.
Hi, Luchan.
How you doing?
I say to you, Sunday was fabulous, and it was fabulous because not only were you exceptional, but Reverend E was exceptional as well. But it was like a play on. She was so gentle and spiritual, and it was just very, very soft. And you were so loud and strong and in the same spirit. So it was really beautiful, and I loved it, and I want to share that with you. And I also want to say, tonight when you said we, and you were saying that the prayers are answered or the prayer doesn't get answered, it's many times our prayers are answered, but they don't look the way we've set it up to be. So when we set it up, we already know in our head what we think we want this prayer to be, how it should be answered. And invariably, it doesn't. It comes the way it comes. So I'm just making that comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait.
That's very true. Very true. It comes the way it comes. And I think part of embracing the we is knowing that we live in a realm of infinite possibility. I remember the question was, someone asked, do prayers always come true? And it was very divided. It was like pretty even. Half was like, no, not always. And, the other half was like, yes. And I was one of the ones who felt yes. And it's like the prayer comes true to the degree of our consciousness. You have all the wealth of the universe at your mercy right now, just waiting for you to use it. But you only can access it once you truly believe that. So it's already true, just like electricity has already existed. But we just found a way to harness it and manipulate it to how we want. It's the same thing. The law is here for us, waiting on our command. Thank you so much for that, Dodie. I notice movies like Independence Day, where it's aliens, or zombie movies are always going to do well. These things are always really popular. And what it really hit me was a lot of them, it's about an outside force, something outside humanity that forces all of us to get over our differences and come together to fight this outside thing. But I'm like, what if we didn't even need that? What if we didn't need a virus or a bad guy or an alien to come? What if we just decided to just love each other? What if we did that? Just interesting. I really love going through life just remembering that every single person who crosses my path has a blessing for me. Just like I would like to be a blessing for them. And there's nobody who crosses our path who isn't there for us to see the blessing in them, for us to learn something from them, whatever, even if it's the thing not to do. We're supposed to thank them for that. We look at a lot of these shootings that are happening, and the first thing is, oh, we need to get rid of guns, or what a terrible person, how could somebody do that? But something I can speak to, just being a man in America, not a black man, I'm talking about a man, period, is it doesn't really seem like there's a lot of space for men to be vulnerable and to vent. And this isn't a bash to anyone. I'm just bringing light to it. I'm never bashing anyone. I'm just saying this is something we need to think about. This is my experience. And what I feel is that if we were to, as a community, really allow that to when we see anybody, male or whoever, in this time of crisis, in this time of hurt, where they're vulnerable, if we were to see them as an extension of ourselves, and even if it was just a, hey, I see you, that really might keep us all safe. That might be the one thing we need before that same person ends up exploding and does something like that. I've never thought, I need to go to the nearest tower and start sniping people, but I've definitely been mad enough to just fight the first person who speaks to me. I've definitely been there.
Bonnie, go ahead. You're muted.
Okay, there's always got to be one in every group that's muted and talking. And so I'm that one. Everybody else is a release from that responsibility. But anyway, Luchan, what I was going to say, there's two points that you brought up that I just speaking from my heart, when you were talking about the crack epidemic and then affecting and spilling out from the African-American community to really, its tentacles now are all over a society. And knowing that what happens to one happens to all. And it just brings me back to feeling back to that old expression, I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. And as you said, if whoever speaks, just speak up. You don't care who it is that speaks up when you see something that's just not right, just not, that's not just and fair. And your last point that you brought up, it's about men in general not having that place to be vulnerable, to express those emotions that are difficult. And in your opinion, how can we change that? how can we, is it men that need to be men to men? I remember there was Tupac Shakur that was talking about a woman can raise a boy to be a human, but he said that nobody can comfort another man like another man can. Nobody can comfort a man the way another man can. So it just, if you'd speak to that, just, we are in this together. So how can we all support that happen?
I'll answer, then you can go after me, Constance. Thank you for that question, Bonnie. I was lucky enough to have my father in my life, and also, uncles, stepfather. Those four men I just named are very masculine, very much OGs, and I have seen all four of them cry before. And they didn't have excuses. They didn't try to hide it from me. When it was time to cry, they cried. So for me, a man being vulnerable is not something that's foreign to me. I've never, ever ridiculed any of my homies for being vulnerable around me. If you need to cry, homie, cry. I understand. So my outlook on it may be a little different than most of society, because most of society believes that if you cry, you're not a man. But I think that as we evolve, we're realizing that does not do good for us. Just like a woman is allowed to be vulnerable and no one says anything when she starts crying, I'm human just like her. That's what's beautiful about people coming forth and saying, don't tag me with your gender identities and all that. As much as I identify with, being male, and because I was born male and all that, I also understand why somebody would say, don't categorize me. I'm human. And I think we need to allow people to be human. I don't have the direct answer as to what we need to do, but I do know that any man who trusts you enough to say, hey, I'm having difficulty right now at this part of my life, that dude is searching for some answers. And if we could just at least be an ear to that person for however long we have, that may be just enough to help that person make a better decision instead of being violent.
Constance, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to say two things, Luchan. Is that one is when I first moved to California and I was trying to figure out how to put bread on the table, because it was in 2008, not the best year to try to move. I started doing some workshops with entrepreneurs who were doing training, and this one guy that I worked with, he was very good. He was quite brilliant. And one of the things that he did was he would often get men up on the stage to work with him, and he was getting them to try to be in their male power, because so many, I think white men in particular, have tried to be less than who they are in order to be okay with women, because women were saying, you're this, that, and the other thing. And so I don't, until you can stand, a woman or man, and until you can stand in your own power, really being vulnerable, even with women saying it's okay for women to be cry. Well, a lot of women, and myself used to, I would cry because it was from a place of victimhood. It was not from a place of authenticity, and so it really is coming back to standing in who we really are. And that's the hard part. I mean, that's a long journey. And the other thing I wanted to say, when you were talking about just being able to listen to each other, in the 70s, I was really, I was very young and I was really shut down. I didn't know much about emotions, and I got involved with an organization called Reevaluation Co-Counseling, which is a way of counseling that doesn't involve exchange of money. But the guy who started it, he started it after he'd had an experience when he was being held at gunpoint. And rather than go into a place of fear, well, he probably was in a place of fear, but rather than, he actually just started to get this guy who had the gun to talk to him. And he just listened, and he listened, and he listened until the guy was actually able to put the gun down. And from that, he built this whole movement. So I just wanted to share those two things because I think, yeah.
Thank you. Paul, go ahead.
Luchan, you said something tonight that I think is one step further than what Constance is. So I'm going to ask you to explain it, go deeper for me. You said the best thing to do for a hater is to give them what they want.
Yes.
You said pray for them so God will give them what they want. And then you said when they get what they want, they go away. I'm looking at our political system right now, and there's a lot of hate out there. What do they want? I want to know what they want. To be right, to be loved, I don't know what they want, because when you counter someone of that hateful nature, especially in the political arena right now, they don't recognize truth or fact, and they seem very broken to me. So tell me, if you will, from your experience of haters that you've experienced, what do they want and what do you give them so that they will walk away? I'd rather them get healed, but walk away is getting out of, you also said, so that they get out of your way. So
Well, I think essentially the core is we want them to be healed. So it is really what I generally do is, say, Spirit, bless this person and may they find what they're seeking. And God knows what they're truly seeking. They may be, I'm mad at you, Paul, because you got the executive position, but I wanted it. But that's not really what you want. What you want is to feel secure. What you want is to feel important. What you want is to have a job that you're proud of, that pays all your bills. So how about this? This job, if it's truly mine, then I can pray for you to get whatever it is you want, and this job will still be mine, and something better and more awesome will open up for you. And if I truly do want you to have that, you'll get it and you'll be out of my way. But if I stay there and do this dance with you of, oh, you hate me? Well, I hate you too. And nobody's going to win that way. That's what I mean when you pray for them to get what they want. Somebody may say, oh, well, I'm in a place of power and I'm going to use it to oppress a certain group of people. But the person doing that, who's acting like a hater, if I pray for them to get what they want, it's not so that they can continue oppressing people, but more, I want them to find the expression of God that's in them. I want them to see and express that. That's what I want for all of us, to know that we're important, to know that we're beautiful. It's why I don't use the word ugly. First of all, I just don't believe it. I just because you don't like it don't mean it's ugly. If I try some food that you like and I don't like it, I'm not going to call it nasty. I'm just going to say I don't like it. And so what I mean by that is that if we all know we're beautiful, there's no need for us to do these put downs. And, we all know a beautiful person. A beautiful person makes everybody around them feel beautiful. That's a beautiful person. The person who's physically beautiful but comes in calling people ugly, like, come on now. We know what's really going on with you. And so that's what I mean by to pray for a hater to get for what they want. What we all want is to feel loved and cherished, to feel special. That's really what we all want. Everybody wants, even the people say, I don't want to be special. I just want to be left alone. You want to feel special. Stop it. Everybody does. And if I pray for you to get that and truly mean it, now you're not in my way. It's not easy for me to do. Trust me, I'm talking like I do it all the time. I do not, which is why I'm saying it out loud so that y'all can call me on it. But that's the best way. Every time I've done that, my life has always gotten easier. The hater just poof, gone, never hear from him anymore. And now I have nothing but just open field to dance in. But as long as I stay there and fight with you, all I'm saying is, and so it is. And the and so it is affirming more BS. There's 5 people I'm thinking of right now who I need to stop fighting and pray for them to get for what they want. Right now, as I'm saying this, and I keep doing the dance with them. How are you, Elena?
Thank you, Luchan.
Yeah, I'm here. Let me get my video on. Oh, there's the top of my head. I'm going back to what you said earlier about the movie, the Independence Day, that phenomenon where, you know, we have this common enemy and suddenly we forget our stupid differences and we come together. So this weekend I watched the movie that was popular last year, Don't Look Up, which was kind of the opposite of that. The comet came and nobody put their differences aside. They just kept acting like their stupid problems were still going on. It's an interesting contrast. I mean, that was the funny and disturbing part of the movie, is that everyone just kept acting like they did before. They didn't come together. And it just made me think about, you know, the real issue is that we have the wrong enemies. You know, the enemy out there is the separation and the fear and the hate and the, you know, all that stuff that we manufactured that is the enemy when that's not the enemy. And if we could see it differently, I keep thinking maybe we should just keep asking ourselves, which movie am I in right now? And am I in Don't Look Up, or am I in, you know, Independence Day? And make that internal shift.
That's great.
So.
I love it. And you know what's awesome is that we think that the other person is the issue, or, you know, we may even be conscious and know we're being silly and think, oh, well, you know, I'm just, you know, but these people over here, what it really comes down to, honestly, is that all of us are scared ishless of our own greatness. That is terrifying. We all here are with a divine plan, have a divine agreement with God that we're supposed to stick to, and we are expected to manifest, and it frightens us. And guess what? Instead of dealing with what I'm afraid of, I could just find other distractions and blame it on them instead. See, what I could do, you know, that time when I first got my heart broken, was I could have learned how to dance better, went and got a better haircut, learned how to dress, put a breath mint in this time, and maybe that won't happen. But I don't want to do that. So instead, I just say, oh, don't bother. You know, women are trouble. All women are trouble, man. Just don't even bother. All they do is break your heart. No, homie, learn how to say some better words and learn how to dance. Better yourself. But that's frightening to do. Hate is a coward's way out. It's just the easy way to go. It's easy to love somebody after you felt you were wronged. That is gangster. Who can do that? Who can do that where you can look that person in the face and say, I see God? That's for gangsters.
Constance, go ahead.
Just very quickly, I wanted to say that, you know, I moved to Canada in 1970, and I was there a year or so, and then I came back to a conference in the United States. And all of a sudden, I was at the conference, and all of a sudden it just hit me, because there was all this infighting going on at this conference, and all of a sudden I sort of started laughing, and I realized, you know, in the United States, we don't know who we are unless we know who we're against. And that's part of our national culture. And so, you know, we really have to get over that. And that's not true in other countries in the same way it is here.
Wow. That was a lot right there.
Yeah.
Goodness. Yeah. It's like, oftentimes there's that person who they don't have anything to talk about when we're all talking about something, unless it's something bad about somebody. And like, I don't want nobody feeling comfortable. I know I've had phases in my life where I thought that was how I was supposed to be socialized and stuff. But that's what it sounds like to me. When we only know who we are when we're beefing with somebody. When there's nobody to fight, it's like, now all we do is have the silence. And now we have God talk. That's uncomfortable. No, I got to find somebody to hate.
Joan, go ahead.
Hi, Luchan.
How you doing, Joan?
Good. So I have the fortune of my family's fourth generation Oakland born. And I experienced Oh, friends dying on heroin. That was like a norm. We had Hell's Angels. My sister, there was a famous Hell's Angel named Tiny who would always be at our bus stop and flirt with her when we were coming home. It was just like, that was just like normal love, normal good stuff. Not that heroin and dying is good, but it was just like a matter of fact. And we had marches. I was involved in so many marches of equal rights and peace and freedom. And, Black Panthers were huge, which I just loved all that stuff. And then when I was working at Highland Hospital as a nurse, we would have some really violent and angry people come in that were, from my recollection, they were men. I don't remember women. And I was, at most of my life pretty fearless. And, I would hear a commotion or somebody in need, and just going out to the hallway and listening, just listening to them so that they could be heard. And it felt to me like they felt important. They felt just as equal as anybody else, whoever they were. It was a big part of my being. So, just seeing each other is a listening and a respect, which is part of love. And we're all just so equally important and divine. So, go Oakland.
Go Oakland. Yes.
Thank you, John.
And that's it.
Thank you, Joan. And R.I.P. to Sonny Barger too, by the way. Oakland OG.
R.I.P. Yeah.
R.I.P. to that man. And just a little shout out about bike culture and everything. When I first started working in San Francisco, there was a well-known Hells Angel president who had just passed. And long story short, I end up meeting his son. And I remember finally asking him, once I got really into the bike culture, and was just like, wow, these dudes are tough and all the girls like them and they got cool bikes. And then of course it was like, yeah, but they're not gonna let you join because you're Black. And I was so crushed when I heard that. And finally I asked him, I was just like, what's up with that? And he just told me straight up. And he made a lot of good points, but one of them was, if you really a biker, you got to be down for your club. You may go to jail for your club. Well, guess what? When you go to jail, everything's divided by color. So yeah, you and I are in the same club, but if you're over there with the Blacks and I'm with we may end up fighting each other. And how is that going to look? And when I heard that, I'm just like, wow, this color thing has gotten so out of hand that you and I could actually be in the same club and be partners and can't. And all these mixed clubs that are popping up now, they keep saying to all the other clubs that it flew because of color, y'all are missing out on something beautiful. And I love it. There's so many mixed race clubs now saying that, like, listen, y'all are missing out.
Yeah, good. Jerry, did you want to say something? You had your hand up.
Oh my gosh, I want to say a lot, but there's not time to say a lot. But what I do want to say, Luchan, is that your shirt says champion, and to me, you are the champion. And I appreciate you so much for everything that you've shared tonight. And I just want to ditto a lot, especially Dodie early on. And I was just thinking about prayer and what you said about prayer. And in my view, all prayer is answered prayer. Now, it may not look like what we're putting out there expecting, but all prayer is answered prayer as long as we can live in the mystery of trusting Spirit to bring forth what is for our greatest good. And seeing through the eyes of God, seeing everybody, looking into those eyes, and someone mentioned respect. That is such a loving position to be in, to be able to respect one another no matter what the circumstances are. It could be the roughest, toughest, meanest guy in the world, or it could just be you and me, who knows? But the bottom line is that respect is really important. And just what I like to do, and you mentioned it on Sunday too, about the drivers who drive you crazy, that cut you off or whatever. I bless them. I just bless them all. I don't get riled up about it, because if I'm riled up, I'm the only one riled up. They're not. They're long gone down the freeway. So what's the point? So sending love and blessings, and I'm sending that to you too. Thank you so much. You are a blessing.
Yes, indeed.
Mhm.
Thank you, Lucian.
And Luchan, first, our sharing time is up. We're trying to stick to the hour, so I'm going to thank everybody that was willing to share tonight. But mostly, I want to thank you for coming forward and giving us some ideas to think about. There's a lot. This is one of those services where you're going to want to go back to our YouTube channel on the website and watch it again, because he dropped a bucket full, a wagon full of nuggets. So it's worthy of redigesting. And as far as the word respect goes, literally translated, it means to see again, spectacle, respect. So when you said, and Joan said, and my Stephen's writing a paper right now for his nursing degree, the primary job of a nurse is really to, before they can assess anything, they need to listen. And so when you're listening, you're actually seeing, allowing them to be heard. And when we respect someone, we're allowing them to be seen. Again, re-see. So I thought I would share that with you. That was something I learned recently, and I think it kind of fits in the model of what you were presenting tonight. So thank you. So with a deep breath, I'd like to get through our announcements and move on with our program. Please stay, because we're going to read the minister's covenant very shortly. This Sunday, our own Reverend Jerry Carter will be speaking. That's the 17th. And she'll engage us on the topic of you and me create society. Please join us in person with meditation at 10 a.m. and the service at 10:30. We are streaming directly to YouTube, and the link is on the homepage. So if you choose to watch the service from home, you can also attend in that manner. Also, next Sunday, our nonprofit partner, Save the Redwoods, will present us with what's happening in their neck of the woods. Their mission is to protect and restore coastal redwood and giant sequoia trees. As well, on Sunday, the loving stewards of the earth invite you to join them in a group prayer for Mother Earth right after the service in the new gratitude garden by the parking lot entrance. Let's take a moment to enjoy the bounty of beauty in the OCSL gardens. We will energetically connect with Mother Earth, pray for the beings and elements of nature, and raise environmental consciousness. Let's give thanks for Gaia, bless her, and pray for our improving relationship with her. That's right after service in the gratitude garden with the loving stewards of the earth. Next Wednesday, July 20th, Reverend Dr. Eloise Oliver deepens our understanding of ourselves with the topic of You and Me Create Society. Meditation at 6:30 and service at 7. Our Wednesday night services will remain on Zoom. Our social hall and nursery are open, and they complement our child-friendly sanctuary services. And they're open to accommodate our growing families so you can watch while nursing or hanging out with your littlest ones. There's even more youth events, classes, and volunteer opportunities, and they're coming soon. So please stay tuned. Do you have a desire to touch the divine presence within so that it can manifest and express more fully in your life? Join Reverend Catherine Sachs on Sunday, July 24th at 1 p.m. for an afternoon of inspired and deep writing from the soul. The price is $30 to attend. Please register on the events page so you can secure your space. And that events page is on our website so that you can attend. And as always, for information on all that's going on here at the Oakland Center, check out that website. There's a lot to explore. And again, please check out that events page. Don't forget, you can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And if you are not receiving it already, you can sign up for our weekly newsletter, as I stated earlier in the program. And please check out our YouTube channel. You can see this service again there. With that in mind, let's move into reading the Minister's Covenant together. This is a ritual that we do on Sundays and on Wednesdays. So breathe with me and follow along as I read it. There is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to reveal spirit, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of God's wisdom. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by Spirit. For it is written, I am filled with divine wisdom. I allow divine mind to fill my mind now. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as unity in the community. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself, for I am inspiring unity and diversity, embracing and nourishing our community. I am awakening the wisdom within. I am healing and expanding our community with the power of love. I am engaging the community in building a world that works for everyone. I am deepening family consciousness. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they are revealed in a way that illumines spirit and serves the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful God is gracious, and so it is. Ashe. And in this moment of gratitude, I'm grateful for all the times and the treasures and the talents that our community members bring forward. So let's read our offering statement to support that even more. I give and receive freely and generously with an open heart and an open mind, blessing the flow of prosperity in the world. We love to receive your gifts of time, treasure, and talent. You come right through these gates and contribute that there. If you have some treasure you'd like to share, you can do it on our webpage where everything lives these days, using the donate button or mailing or texting or Zelle. And again, you can join us on Sunday service where we have a basket ready and willing to receive your gift. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I do need to thank some people real quick. First of all, I want to thank Reverend Jerry for being here and supporting us. It's truly a gift. I want to thank everybody that joined us from far places and people we haven't seen before on a Wednesday night. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. But there's some folks that stand behind me that make me look good and sound good. And that's not easy to do. And they seem to excel at it because I'm still doing it every Wednesday night. And that's our Zoom team. Thank you so much to Peter and Alice and Luis and Sabrina tonight. Also want to give a shout out to Constance, Peggy Cotton, and John Russell, who supply us the administration support for our Wednesday nights, and Zoe Jamiro, who gives me moral support. So thank you all for making our Wednesday nights truly, truly valuable. Luchan, I can't thank you enough for what you do for us and for me. I am anxiously awaiting your graduation from ministerial school, because then you'll have that special cloak that you already own in your heart. It'll be on your shoulders. And I share that day with you and your family. We know you're going to excel at that. So it's coming soon, correct? Okay. So I'm going to have you bring the minister in and do what we always do on Wednesday nights. We open with prayer and we close with prayer. So thank you again, Luchan. Blessings to you and the family. And if you'll close us out in prayer, that would be just fabulous for me.
Thank you. There is one life, one mind, one breath, one heartbeat. It is perfect. It is my life. It is our lives right now. And through this one life that is what has birthed the we that we all fall into, I am blessing this we, knowing that the love that I wish for myself, the prosperity, the health, the happiness, the tears of joy, the tears of growth, all of this that I want for me, I want this for all of us, knowing that the divine plan, the divine experience is to see the beauty of God in all, especially ourselves. So I'm affirming this for all of us, knowing that there is no us, there is only God. And as we are individual cells in the body of God, I am knowing that all of this is so. I give thanks for this experience on this day, which is a God day. I allow it to be and I release it where the answer is always yes. For this and so much more, I am thankful. And so it is.
And so it is.